Hello and welcome to StampingCatCrew.com. Today we're going to make this Happy Halloween card. Again, one of our color challenges. It uses So Saffron, Pumpkin Pie, Pear Pizzazz, and Early Espresso. And then we had a base of white in there. So you can choose how to bring the colors in. I always say try to make it like the challenge photo so that you can obviously see it came from that. Now you can see I didn't use any Pear Pizzazz ink on here. What I chose to do is bring the stems of the pumpkins that I cut out in Pear Pizzazz paper. So I'll show you how we did that. And all we did was a little bit of sponging as well, not a lot, and then a little bit of stamping on the envelope. One of the things that made this card so incredibly easy was the coordinating paper, and I love this new Halloween paper that is in the Stampin' Up! 2017 holiday catalog. So this was the background that we chose. This is the other side. These are the pumpkins that I cut out 3 of them, and then gave the coordinating little stems on the pumpkins. So they're double-sided. Those are the little potion bottles. We have this pattern. That's the other side of the pumpkins. This is the trees that our little owl is sitting in, and some little spooky hats, and then of course the cat, which coordinates with that amazing cat punch. We are actually going to do a card with that coming up. Super excited. So I'm going to set that paper aside, and the stamp set that we did is called the Spooky Cat stamp set. We've done something with the potion bottles and with some of the sentiments here. We are going to use the Happy Halloween. We've used a couple of these on the envelope to add a little bit of our color, and then of course the owl done in the Early Espresso. So set that aside. Love that. This kitty right here coordinates with that kitty punch as well. So I've pre-done a lot of our pieces like usual to save a little time. I'm going to show you what I did for each layer. I also have our envelope, which we're going to decorate. So we're going to start off with that. We'll just start from the bottom and work our way up. We've got the So Saffron here, and we've done the thinner strip and some So Saffron. I'm going to add a couple of those. Do a little different dimension. We've got our pumpkin pie, which gives us our thicker edge. And then we have our Early Espresso. And we ink our owl up nice and good. So what we don't want to do is just push down really hard, rock our stamp. You get ink all over the edges. It is not what you want to have. So he's just going to be setting right there, and you're going to go straight down and straight back up with even pressure. And that gives us the nice stamped image. Again, using the foam pad because of the photopolymer stamp. Set the envelope aside and let that dry. The other portion that's stamped is our kitty owl sitting in the tree. We're going to do the same thing. We've got our Early Espresso ink. And I move around to different spots on the ink pad. Whenever you have like a big solid area like his tummy, I want to make sure and get some even ink coverage in there. And then I know we want him sitting right about there. Again, straight down and straight back up with even pressure, not rocking your stamp set. The last thing that we had was our Happy Halloween sentiment. Same thing, nicely inked, and we're just going to center this. I'm going to bring this a little forward. Hopefully you can still see, but I don't want to go off the paper. Straight down and straight back up. And that's all there is to that. I'm going to close up all our inks. We are done stamping. I'm going to set those aside. I'm going to start building our card from the bottom up. Now, I've trimmed some incredibly thin pieces. They're probably 1/16 of an inch, I would guess, wide for the Pear Pizzazz. And I'm going to show you how I made stems with those, because we can set those aside and let those dry. Now I happen to have a quilling tool. It's a small round piece with a little hole right here. And what I've done is I've taken an end, but you can wrap it around any really small circle and do the exact same thing. Even like your piercing tool, many people use that because it's very small and it gives you the same look there. And that's it. So we've got those 3 little stems done. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our Tombow liquid glue, and I'm going to take a little piece of scratch paper here. So and set that aside. So I'm going to close up the Tombow liquid glue. I actually really love this. It is great for attaching lots of little things like that. So this is the part that we're going to layer underneath the sentiment to pop that up. I'm going to set these pieces aside. We started with an Early Espresso base cut at 8.5 by 5.5. It is scored and then folded at 4 1/4. We're going to even up the edges and lay that flat. And with our bone folder, give that a nice crisp edge. I've cut a piece of white to put along the inside. And add that on the inside there. And then our front base is this Halloween paper that had the sentiments on it, and I loved it for a background, and we kept it from being busy by giving it some other blocks of color laying on top, which was great. So I got to use the colors that I wanted in the background, something that coordinates, but didn't interfere with the design choice that we made. So the layer of the Early Espresso, I'm going to put, again, adhesive around the 4 edges, and then we are going to lay that, have an even border both sides, and just about there. So the last part that we have is this and our owl that we've stamped. I did do a little bit of sponging, and we'll see what I have left on the inside. We're going to need a little more of the So Saffron. I'm going to open this up, and we've talked about this many times. Anytime that you are inking, you want to have a scratch paper, sponging, you want to have a scratch paper around the outside. And often for clouds, this isn't really a cloud shadow, but we do want it to go in that general direction. So I've had it going right to left across the owl and the moon in the background there. Simple, easy, that's all we did. We're going to layer this stamped part right onto the So Saffron background. We're going to center that, all 4 sides. And then this part is actually popped up, so we're going to grab some of the Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. And I always like to put them in the 4 corners and then pop up the center. You really don't have to layer your entire back with dimensionals. It really will stay up and be enough without overdoing it. So just a tip. I'm going to layer him right across the base there, and we want him to have kind of an even layer there. So he's popped up a bit. Here's our sentiment. We're going to take our paper snips, and I'm going to just shorten first the edges. And then what I do is I tell people cut directly in the center and then go from your edge to the center, and again from your edge to the center. And that'll give you a nice flagged end there. And then you can kind of look and see how long your flags are at the end. So you can always start up a little higher, down a little lower, and get a fairly even look on that. So what I like to do next is add some adhesive to the back part of this layer, and I layer it right on the Sausafran and keeping it an even border from side to side and top to bottom. And that's our kitty Teddy. So she was in my last video that I shot. She may come say hello again. She's in the room with me today. So just did the ends, and then I'm going to come up and I'm going to do the same thing. Hi, Ted. Hi. And then I'm going to come up right here. And we're going to have to move you, Ted. As cute as you are, I'm pretty sure that they would rather see the techniques. Okay, so this is Teddy, and off she goes. So we have our sentiment, and we're just going to give it a little bit of a twist there to pop up the edge. Again, taking one of the dimensionals that we have. I'm going to put it right on the back here, and I will often add just a bit here and a bit here. And then I think those are a little long. So what I'm going to do is shorten these up, and we'll and there we go. So we've done a little bit of popping up. We've removed the adhesive from the back, and we're going to lay this directly across right here. And the final thing we need to add is our pumpkins. So we're going to add just a bit of adhesive. And have it set just like that. So you can see some of the vines that are there with the kitty and the Happy Halloween. This is the envelope that we punched for the outside, and that's it. Super easy, super quick and simple. So thanks so much. If you have any questions or love any of the products you can see or you saw, you can shop 24/7 at stampingcatcrew.com. And that's it. Happy creating.